Best 0% interest for 6 to 18 months and up to $150, if not $250,000 in a business credit card program where you can stack multiple credit cards together for real estate investors, for business owners, and many more alike. Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. Happy Friday. Welcome in. This is scheduled. This is more spontaneous. But if you're joining here on the live, please give me a hashtag live or a hashtag replay in the comments section. I want to go through this for the next couple of minutes and reveal to you how, as a real estate investor, if you have a fix and flip, multifamily, short-term rentals, new construction, foreign nationals, commercial property, even if you're not a real estate investor and you're looking at it from using it towards expansion or growth, payroll, other expenses for your business or businesses, this video will be the one that you must pay close attention to, because if you don't, you could be causing yourself to run into a lot more mistakes time and time again, days, weeks, months, and even years of trying to sift through this information, trying to figure it out for yourself. You try to click through something, you apply anywhere and everywhere. And if you know, that's not the right outcome. I've been there, done that. And so very quickly, I run multiple businesses myself. And I say that so you have reassurance that, look, I've been able to receive funding for my businesses. I know how to analyze documentation, prepare documentation so that I can show it to the lender, so that I can review it with the lender as well. And then we can come back to you and give you the feedback you deserve. And I'm very transparent. I'm very loyal, versatile. I have a lot of experience. I'm very reliable. But make sure you are being able to reciprocate that if you want the best use of your energy and time. So I'm going to be getting into this document in just a second. And underneath it, I'll be detailing the parts of this 0% interest introductory rate. And then after that, what could happen. But what you have to keep in mind as we go through this service is using good debt as opposed to bad debt. I know many of you may have already been in a position or are in one where it's hard to get out of, or you're just trying to figure out how to improve your personal credit, perhaps improve your business credit, but more importantly is separating your personal and business, which I've helped out a lot of business owners do, myself as well. And the most important thing is to protect your personal credit and to then start building and establishing that business credit profile. And in this video, we're going to go into these business credit cards. I'll give you some of them in a few steps, so you want to stick with me until the very end of this video. But this is what a lot of real estate investors are taking. They're being able to liquidate the cash out of even any business owners and using them for investment properties, commercial property, whatever it is you are trying to do. And this is a revolving credit line, but on a business credit card instead of a true business line of credit, which right now it's much harder to get approved for. It's more conservative, higher amounts of annual gross revenue. The credit scores come up. And then for a lot of industries, it's a bit different. So I'll leave this information as well down below. I may leave this documentation there for you to look at. And if not, I'll also leave a questionnaire form for you to fill out. So here, let's go through this. You can see a picture there of a card. I put any kind of image here. But this is just resembling what we're about to go through. And I'll uncover some of these cards you guys can take a look at. But here it says, please take the time to fully read them so you understand them. Plus, if you don't qualify because you're a startup, I'll leave more options below. And this is a startup program. This is a template that I had for a different video that I made. And so this is true startup, no doc funding. So for those of you who are a startup real estate investor or not, or you're a non-startup in a different business or a different vertical, horizontal, this applies the same. So here we have the credit line hybrid option. And normally what I say here, and this is something that I can show on that questionnaire that I send you back, and it's customized and highly personalized for you. So you'll see what options are best. You'll see a different one at the top depending on your file. And I'll go into that questionnaire hopefully towards the end of this video. So please skip until you get a 700 plus consumer credit score on all, I should put here, I'm going to move this. All three consumer credit bureaus. Less than a 700 may work only due to high balances on your revolving account or accounts. then you quote unquote may still qualify. So there are situations where if you don't have that 700 and above credit score, we can use a payday loan if you need to temporarily make sure that's completely paid off or it's very low. It lowers your debt to income ratio. And then there's other things we're going to be looking at because this is more credit based. So only due to high balances on revolving accounts or accounts, then you may still qualify. Get a credit partner if you need to, or in other words, get a guarantor who owns at least 10% of the business. If you guys are in partnership, 51%, 50-50, or at least 10%, if you're 100% majority owner, then that'll be most difficult, and we'll have to work on getting your credit up. And so I'll go into some of the details, but I know some of you in here are like, well, I don't have a 700 credit. What can I do? So it's most important for your education that you're open-minded, you allow for feedback, and then number 3 is be patient. I've learned this over many years, like many of you, not only running my own businesses, but I was working in a 9-to-5 role, and I was under-delivered, and not the word overpromised, but what people were saying, they did another. And then underpaid is a huge understatement. So this is another vertical, but like many of you, I had my struggles and I wanted to start my own business. And then I started learning about passive investments, passive income. I came to the online world. I learned about digital marketing agency, affiliate marketing, built a few businesses underneath that, digital marketing agency, a venture with e-commerce for a little bit under the affiliate model. And then I have a few other ventures. This is my primary focus though, but I had to go on unemployments for some time because the company got bought over. I was working in a financial logistics role and I had to go back on those. And then I had to go back on the whole food stamps and the whole circle of this, feeling embarrassed, feeling like I wasn't enough in my younger 20s. And then I had gone to school, academically speaking. And I went to school for sociology and then went into chemical engineering. That's eventually what I wanted. And then I went into the business administration because I saw the market for that evolving and I wanted to see that in the future look a little bit better there. But this is just a few things that I want you guys to know, that I come from a person who has these values for people, for himself, for aspirations, beliefs, and many more that goes way beyond just getting business funding. So here you can see that. Now we're going to go down over here. And it says, how would you like to get up to 150,000 plus in unsecured no doc credit cards for your business, and even up to 250,000, even when the banks say no to you specifically, like they're saying no, or they're saying, hey, we can't get you that amount. So with these cards, of course, we're working with banks, but at the same time, you're looking at it and going, well, if I'm not getting the good enough an approval, or I'm not getting approved enough, what is the reason why? And we can work on your behalf, myself and my team, and then also better prepare you that if you had to walk into a bank, should you do that versus doing something online, and what you should have on hand, if anything. What about being able to liquidate the cash out of these cards and using them for any investments you choose? That's the part where I say it's very convenient when you have business credit cards. You're not only reporting to the business credit bureaus, depending on when you get those cards, what kind of pull is it? Is it an Experian and Equifax? Is it an Experian and TransUnion? Certain cards are different, and I'll go into some of those momentarily, so please stick with me. But it's most important that you can put these on a balance transfer check or some other way of being able to directly deposit them into your account and have that money on hand to use them for any fix and flips, any distressed properties. You're fixing it to then rent it first before you're selling it because of the market, new construction projects. I have a lot of business owners who can't get, or I should say real estate investors who are business owners as well to that degree, who can't get traditional real estate financing, can't get traditionally SBA 7A commercial real estate loans, or in another facet. And I have a lot of people day by day who do come to me, and then I have the new ones who go, hey, I want this property that's at this amount. This would be the loan to cost when we do our assessments and appraisals, and if we got to that point. But there's situations where the property value isn't high enough. It's not meeting our minimum of 100K. We can go probably a little bit less than that, 5 plus or minus. But it's also refinancing. And there's a few other scenarios. I don't want to get too in deep into that because each service is different. But if you don't have enough and we can't do traditional real estate financing, then we can look at doing it through business credit cards. But again, you would have to get your credit up, and I'll show you an alternative if you don't have 700 plus credit, where you can get in with at least a 680 plus FICO. And if you have less than that, we may need to do a few more things to get creative. So let's go back into this. The credit line hybrid program is designed to help you get funding strictly based on your personal credit quality. A 700 and above on all three is best. It used to be about 680. And if you don't have that, but you do have, let's say, a 680 just FICO Experian, we could do another form. We could do personal funding where it can combine a term loan / installment loans, maybe with a personal line of credit, although that does require a little bit more, with personal and or business credit cards that are not maybe 0%, maybe they're lower quality, lower starter amounts. But at the end of the day, what we're saying here is you want to have a fully optimized personal credit profile. And if you have business credit already established, this does help. This does show us that you are able to do things underneath your business. And what have you done? That's another question. And I'll also leave vendor credit details on all of this down below in the description. So here it is. Our lenders will not ask for your financials. That is huge. Bank statements. Let me put this here. Will not ask for this. They will not ask for your financials, bank statements, business plans, resumes, or any other burdensome documents that request that most conventional lenders demand. And I've seen this as well with other services, also with the SBA 7A loans. I'm doing a lot of them. I've had people who've been through, others who haven't been able to. Those are sometimes per case basis where I can look at a lot of it already up front and say we shouldn't do an SBA. Other ones I have to say we have to gather this and look at it and review it. And I'm going to review this with my lender. And then after that initial first look, then we give you a better answer. But I'm not going to get too deep into SBA loans. I'll leave more information down below. But in the questionnaire, that's where you want to begin. And I do all types of services if you're asking. I do revenue-based, credit, collateral. Those are the three you have to keep in mind, or cash flow-based, or it's revenue-based, credit, and collateral. You either have one of those three, two, or all three. And this is the premise of why I'm asking questions when I'm helping you, whether it's in an email or it's in another format. And I try to uncover what are the problems, what are the questions, what are those pain points, what are those obstacles, what are those roadmaps or roadblocks, I should say, and those outcomes you're looking to achieve. And then we'll look at creating the best strategic partnership and roadmap for you around those, or one or more. So none of that. Business plans, resumes, like you'd probably see on bank term loans, SBA loans, especially when we're doing a business acquisition and we're asking for the resumes, or any other burdensome documents that request more conventional lenders will demand. Here's the best part. Like I said, you can get an approval with an introductory rate or rates as low as 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, giving this the program the best terms in the country. Here are the benefits. You get a 24-hour pre-approval, 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. Business credit can also be used to help you qualify. I want to back up here. I could say so much underneath the 0% interest, but we got to move along. Just know that you're using this money. It's free money. Now, how you use that money, if it's bad debt or good debt, that's up to you. Is it bad debt and then becomes good debt? So making sure that you understand that after that introductory period, what you have, what statements, what balances, what do you have showing, and making sure that you can effectively pay those off, whatever the interest rate on those may be in your risk association. Business credit can also be used to help you qualify. Flexibility, but it's not always necessary. What we look for, if you're asking, do you need an LLC? It helps to have an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, a different entity as opposed to 1040, 1099. You want to have an EIN at least, because that's what will help show that you have a business, as well as we can look to be reporting those to the business credit bureaus and the agencies. So yes, those do get you a better of approval with LLCs, and I've seen with a few of the others with S Corp, C Corp, etc. They can maximize the amount you can receive. And if you already have an established business and you've been producing revenue and you have those, sometimes they may ask for those returns or a bank statement or 2 or 3. Not always, but it will be in your best benefit if they were to ask for them, because it can improve your amount. It can bring up more. It can build more confidence and certainty with that banking institution and more. Flexibility, you can use the funds for what you need to do and for your business, your real estate business. Even startup businesses, as I said, can qualify, as well as for non-startups. True no-doc financing program. So yes, this is no-doc. I know you've probably been thinking, well, I know those credit unions and I know those Navy Federals, and there's quite a bit more. I'm not going to start naming them all. Or maybe I can get something with less, maybe zero, no docs, loan, personal loan, business loans. And that's for another time. Or maybe get a business credit card through a credit union. Certain ones, like a Navy Federal, may not report to the business credit bureaus. It may be a liability or an asset to you, or you go, well, I don't want it to report on a piece of equipment that I just purchased so that I have more purchasing power, and you used up those cards. So it's different for each person's and their situation and how you're using this. But I'm going to find you, myself and my team, those best business credit cards. And even if you have some, you're like, well, I already have them. Well, have you maximized stacking them? You probably have quite a bit underneath those businesses and what you've already built. But have you done it this way? Have you done it structurally? Have you done it correctly? And we can get you a better of approval amount over time. And as you keep growing your business, we keep increasing those limits over time, and then you keep getting more other cards come into the picture and so forth. So true no-doc financing program, application to funding, it's in 3 weeks or less. There's no upfront application fee whatsoever, so you don't have to worry about paying upfront or any hidden costs. And by the way, if you're asking, do you have to pay me or are you paying me for it? No, it's coming off the total amount we get you usually, or it's the success fee of that, of what we do. So no, you don't have to pay me. I know maybe down the road I may have that, but I don't want to be doing that. I'm focusing on other things at this moment. And I've had people recommend to me, and there's other people who you'll schedule an appointment with who they'll charge you $40, $50 just for that. And that's probably how they only make their money. I'm not saying they do, but a lot of people know that they won't get approved. They won't go through the process, or they're going to stop somewhere. And please don't do that. Not with me. I have a lot of energy and time that I put into things, and I want to make sure I'm as effective. So making sure you're serious about this and not just starting something that you can't end. That doesn't look good. I'm not saying you're a bad person. It just doesn't look good. And it comes down to character. And it comes down to not being able to plan correctly for how you use these funds. You let something maybe externally get in the way. But I'm not going to get into that. That's not me being aggressive or negative. That's just me giving you some tough love. And I can hammer down on that. But I won't do that for today. So let's go back to this here. Credit approvals up to $150,000 per individual. Corporate credit cards, if not more than that, $250,000 or so. No collateral requirements. Ability to use credit partners to qualify if needed. And we haven't even accounted for how much of an increase you can put on these cards, guys. So just know that what we're looking at initially. Ability to use credit partners, as I said, if needed. If you needed to get more over time and you had somebody else who can get more credit for you, then we could do that. But what we want to see initially, and when we're going through this, credit partners with at least, or a guarantor with at least 10% ownership of the business. But let me look at something right here really quickly. I have another document. I want to make sure that I cover this. I wasn't missing anything. Okay. So I didn't miss anything. Just know that if anybody else is going to apply later on, that we will be requiring an EIN to look at, because this is, again, business credit cards, business credit reporting, etc. So that's that part. Let me come back in here. There are no cash flow requirements. It can help you build or improve your business credit score. Many don't report to personal credit. Some will, depending on the file, depending on those cards. Qualifications. Like I said, have 700 and above of a credit score on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. Credit with 3 years old with the 5,000 plus limit must be a primary card. Minimum of 2 open revolving accounts within a year and a half of good payment history. Under 40% utilization on all revolving accounts. No more than 4 unsecured accounts open in the past 12 months. No more than 4 to 6 inquiries per bureau in the last 6 months, preferably less. And I can go on for a long time on each one of these bulletin points that I just read and all. I can go even deeper into those, but let's just go through this because of time. No bankruptcies within the past 7 years. No open unpaid collections, liens, or judgments. This program does require a personal guarantee, as so should. from you or your credit partner if you use one. No authorized user accounts for qualification. I can go deeper into that, but let's not do that right now. How it works in 4 simple steps. Step 1, you complete the form for a one-on-one consultation with my internal team, and you'll be made well aware of more or less what I've covered, but even with more detail, and then we'll go back and forth on those things. Step 2, you submit your application. It's a soft pull on your credit. This way we can tell what you already have, what kind of payment history, and we won't make a decision on what kind of cards or what you can get approved for until we see that. So how are we going to make, let's use the word guesstimated decision, or assuming that just because you tell us you have something reporting it's what it is? We're not saying you're wrong. Step 3, get pre-qualified in as little as 24 hours. So it's very quick turnaround. Step 4, meet directly with the credit line hybrid advisors and my team and get access to your credit lines. If you are not approved, you will find out why, as well as what you can do to get approved. There is a one-time success fee of 9.9% that is due after you have received access to your credit lines. If you don't get approved, you don't pay. Best of all, you can use your new 0% credit lines to pay the success fee. So there is no loss. 9.9, that's nothing. If you're new to this and lending and getting funding, then I could see why, or you've been in it long enough, you're like, well, the thing is, the amount of work that we have to fulfill and doing things on your behalf, and then letting you know how this works and that works, and how to add multiple cards and the amount total we're getting you. We're the experts in this, and we've been doing this for some time, and so we know what we can do, as opposed to just going to someone else you turn to, or you go get those higher rates, those 35, 40% merchant cash advance or factor rates or other loans. And over here, it's just an introductory period of free money, basically. And it's what you do after that as well that matters. So it's very relatively low considering all other things. It's not even a lot. If you're just fighting back and forth over a success fee, that's showing us a bigger problem a lot of times. And it's, again, this is what happens when you're working with the experts, and we can maximize, that's the key word, above everything. Application I'll have there for you. So now that is the credit line hybrid. This is the program where, again, you get 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, up to 150, if not 250,000, where we can add multiple business credit cards on top of one another. And I have a few that I want to go into just to give you guys a few examples, but I'll also leave that full video where I give you guys the 4 steps. I'll give you just a few of them. I'll try to link you it down below. It is an in-depth video. But at the foundation level, I'll just say that you want to make sure you have your business email, get your business address, get your business phone number. I can help you guys with this. There's different situations, circumstances, making sure you have the right entity structure, get your EIN number for free from the IRS websites, irs.gov specifically, and then you can go through the site there, get listed on public records, your LLC, your S Corp, C Corp, whatever you have, your Secretary of State, your articles of incorporation. Keep your business name general. I'm not going to go into the specifics of this, but NICS codes and things like that. Establishing your LLC as a foreign entity and the bonuses that come with that in different states and different locations. But if you need help with that, I can help. And then just optimizing your credit profile and what these banks are looking for. And I get into that in a different video, but there's about 6 or so things and points that they will be looking at. And then top banks that I recommend myself and my team, what I've been able to do for myself. I'm associated primarily with Chase. I have other ones, but I won't get too much into those cards. But you have the Truist of the world, the Chase cards, you have the Key Bank cards, and I even go into knowing what those kind of pulls are and if they're 0% or not, and so forth. So there's some cards you can get started off with easier, and then how you can get funding up to 250,000 with certain requirements. I won't get into that right now, but if your business has been open for 2 years, you have a better chance of getting higher no-doc cards, not just these low 25, 50,000 approvals, but higher than that as well, with some of them being no PG and others being a PG included. And so that's pretty much it. And then I go into some of the steps depending on your file, on what kind of card we want to start off with, what could be the approximated approval amount, or we say, hey, we should approve you of this amount, and then we're going to focus on this other card and then get you a higher approval, more or less. Then we'll say, hey, we can go to this bank, then we'll go to this bank, and then that one, and then we'll apply for that one. And then, yes, you will get a hard pull, these hard inquiries. But since they are not attached to your open accounts, we can remove the inquiries and we repeat the process. So there's more to this that goes. I'm not going to go too full in depth in this video. Just know that that is available. And I'm going to pivot now into the personal/business funding option. But let me go to the comments. Hey, welcome in. How are you doing? We got a regular. Happy Friday too. And for everybody else in here and who will be watching on the replay, appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I didn't have this scheduled, so if you can make it, you can. We're going to go on for about another 10 or 15 so more minutes. One thing I want you guys to know, though, do you guys hear how I speak? Well, this guy's speaking slow. If your first thought is he speaks slow is not a good thing, it's not that. I speak slow so you can grasp these things, as well as I am somebody who just speaks slow and I'm somebody who does things slower. But that's a learning lesson. That's wisdom. That's speaking without saying a word. It's showing action as well. That's what matters to me a lot. And so before I go back to the comments, I want you guys to listen more than you speak. But when we talk, if we were to have an email conversation, a text, or a phone call, and I'm asking questions, I'm speaking less and I'm hearing you. I'm pausing in so many ways where you might be questioning, is this guy still on the phone? Because I'm listening. I'm giving you that time and I'm giving myself that time to absorb things. So let me come to the comments here. Yes, I do. Good question too. I just helped a lady who was on my live yesterday and the days prior to that. She's on board with myself and my person that I've outsourced this to. I've done some of this stuff myself in the past with software, but I have to focus on funding. But I do have a recommendation. I can send me an email, or what I'll do. Actually, I'll put it in the comments right now. But yes, this is very, very quick. She had already signed this agreement. She was already into the next step. So you could be on the same boat. Like, she got on it quick. So what I recommend is doing that. I don't like it when people, I'm not sure that you would do this. I don't want to say 100% that you wouldn't, because it's, for me, it's the person I can understand. But at the same time, I want to see somebody show it. And then it's like, okay, but this individual, as well as others, were able to get their agreement. Everything was quick, and to the point. I was on a phone with my credit repair guy. Him and I have a good personal and business relationship. I spoke with him. His name is Steve. I'll give you more information on how he will follow up with you. But let me go ahead and open up that tab. And again, I'm not saying that I don't think you wouldn't follow through. That's not what I'm saying here. It's until I see somebody who actually takes the action where I feel a little bit more like, okay, this person is more serious. But putting a pause on it, I don't like it when people start something they can't finish. I have people who have sent my guy over for credit repair. And like I said today on the phone call, he's like, oh, who you brought over is just spectacular. They're very fond of you, Michael. And I just had a chill running down my spine because I said to him, I do my best. I literally have the knowledge and I want you guys to have that. But let me make sure that I have this right page. 1 second. And what I'm going to do, I think that's the way I want to do it. Yeah. So I'm going to show you an actual review video. That's what I'll actually, yeah, because I didn't put it on the landing page. So let me open up my YouTube on a different tab. You guys can't see this. On StreamYard right now. Let me go to my YouTube studio. This will be a quicker way for me to bring it up. And I made a review video, just so you know. This is very legitimate. I wouldn't have made a review video about him. He actually made a testimonial review video about me. Very grateful for that. And so right here, let me go ahead and copy this link. I'm going to put it in the comments now. So you guys can see that. You guys can view it in time. I'll also say, hey, when you watch that video, and anybody else who needs credit repair, look in the description of that video. So when you watch it, you'll learn about it, the benefits and features and benefits to it. You'll see the costs associated to it. And just know that you got to watch that video to see. But the cost for this, it's actually relatively cheap. It's about $150 per month and cancel very much at any time you want. A lot of people stay beyond what they get repaired. They stay even on for the 6+ months beyond that, even though they don't need the credit repair right away. They just have it at their quick disposal. I would do that myself, but it just depends on the situation. So it's around $150,000 with identity protection and a few other things that go into it. So it's relatively low when you think about all these other alternatives where you might have a lawyer in this, you got to pay a lot more for it. I've been there, done that. I wouldn't want to do that again. It's not always as efficient. And my guy, Steve, and his team are very efficient at doing this. So I hope that helps. And then also, let me find the other one because the video review isn't on there yet. I may make some changes. I did a huge landing page yesterday so I can run it. Let's credit repair. Second. I'll get back to the video and close up here. I typed in that it would bring me to my. Actually, it's on this, so I can go to the description of this video and verify that the link is still working. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to also put the repair link video or URL. So I put it in a bit.ly link. So I put two. I put the video review. I might actually, with a different landing page, I might put the video review on the actual page. So when you were to click a button, it will take you over to the credit repair questionnaire form. That would be something I put together. I had done that with other pieces of content. But I also just put, again, the bit.ly link so you can input your information in the questionnaire. You don't have to put your social security number if you don't want to. It's not required. But a lot of people do. They feel more comfortable with me, so they're okay with doing it. And that's okay. I don't use this information against you. I'd be crazy to do that. So if you want to take a look, it might open up an external window. If you have allowed StreamYard access, and to those of you who haven't, might have to do that. But I put it in the comments. And so what happens is I'll get this information. I might send you a quick email or a quick text message, mobile preferred. Hey, just making sure that you understand the costs entailed, or I don't. If you already know ahead of time, great. I just want to make sure with you, because what happens is Steve, my guy, when I input this information, he'll likely call in about 30 minutes or in an hour. He's very diligent. He's very punctual, guys. He's like me. I could tell with the way he says things. I could tell how he is. And so just make sure that I might tell you it's coming from, I think it's an 818 number. It's in the California, Los Angeles area. But that's what I'll let you know. So let me go over here. You are welcome. And I appreciate you too, and your energy and time. I like to flip-flop that because when people hear it, they go, really didn't think about energy, did I? But I appreciate you saying time and energy, guys. That is most important to me. I spoke with my SBA lender today. We had a decline in file, unfortunately. Kind of had a really good feeling that would happen. I did my numbers. I did my cash flow analysis. I did my EBITDA. I did my profit and loss statements. I did the balance. I did all of this stuff. I know how to do it all. But what I spoke with them, we had an appointment at 10 with my lender, and it took less than literally a minute. She told me what was happening, and I had a few questions. Very productive call. Didn't even have to be 2 minutes in or a minute and 5 seconds in. And she knows me. She's like, you're very diligent. You're very punctual and disciplined, and that's what I love. And the way you showed me things. So, yeah, and I'm glad you've been getting a lot of help with my videos. They've been very informative, I hope. And that even if it's something you guys can't qualify for right now, it could be something that you guys move into. And I have all the services so you guys know, and what's the best lender for this, what's the best underwriters for that, etc. I appreciate that. I have a sense I should focus on that instead of what happened. So I had a client. So let me just put it this way. I don't want to read it word for word, but this is a scenario where it wasn't. This person was ungrateful. So yeah, I know all the people who are appreciative and would appreciate me to a different level. It just depends on that. But I had somebody in my email inbox, and I get these people from time to time. It's no fault of mine. They're probably just upset with themselves. They've probably been shut down time and time again from getting funding. And then when they find me, they expect the same results without changing the actual cause. They just mask the symptoms. So I had an individual who was very, very rude over an email. Good thing it was email. And that's why I do it this way. And he was like, what are my options? I want to get, he was looking for an obtrusive amount, like millions of pound funding, I believe it was. It doesn't even matter anymore. I pay no mind to that. But they were like, I needed this and that. And I'm like, they're not going to get approved for that amount. They have realistically, they have two options. This credit line hybrid, if they have all three Consumer Credit Bureau 700 and above, or they have the personal/term loan funding, personal lines of credit. They couldn't get revenue based. They could have, but it wasn't going to be applied correctly towards property. They weren't going to want to fund him for it. He doesn't have sufficient collateral. I asked him that. He kind of avoided that question or avoided that statement. And so I'm trying to help this fella. And at the same time, he's just said, you're full of the SHIT word. And he crossed the line with that. And that was his first 2 to 3 words in that email he followed up with. And I'm trying to stick to being as professional as I can without breaking character, because that guy could get a mouthful in a very nice way, I put it, and he could get a lot, and it wouldn't be nice for him. But at the same time, I respectfully just responded back to his email, and I said in one of them, is this how you talk to your people? I didn't even say, is this how you talk to your employees? Is this how you talk to your people? Because that is very rude. And so people like that, you shouldn't pay no mind to. And he was just saying, oh, this is full of crap. And those are people who just are upset with everything. And because they're not getting approved for things, or they don't want to hear, they're hearing something that they didn't want to hear. And I'm like, well, if you haven't figured it out, if you figured it out yourself, why don't you go do it? Well, what do you need me for? Of course, you still need me for certain things and want to get more knowledge on them. I like that you said that. And for yourself and everybody included, I want you guys to hear this. Now is the time to act. I'm an SEO. I blog a lot. I have a lot of posts that are ranking on Google. So keywords, I look out for that a lot. So now is the time to act. For those of you who are behind the fence, just trying to search for that one guy who has 1 billion subscribers, that doesn't mean squat. None of that. It really doesn't. For a lot of you who are following views, who are following followers, you guys got to get that out of your head. And so, yes, it could be one stop. I have direct lenders. I have indirect lenders. It just depends on how we look at it. Is it better to do in-house? In this market, it is. I already have those direct lender partnerships with like the Ondex of the words, the Calamity of the Vox, the Everest. I have all of those, and I have the best of the best. So you just shouldn't go and apply to them, especially if I can get you more with another lender. It's not always in your best interest to do that. So let me go back to this. We kind of just sidetracked, but we got through what we needed to today, which was the credit line hybrid, which is the primary focus, and then I'll come back to the comments. Personal/business/startup loan option 1. This is the best option for personal/startup/business funding. You can also get a person with a stronger credit profile that they can apply with their own individual credit. You get a co-signer, somebody you file joint tax returns with, a spouse generally. But if you don't have the credit for it, which it's at least a 680 right here, if not a 700 experience. So we can accept 680 if it's just a matter of high balances, or you're just trying to pay off some remaining ones and it's nothing like derogatory or nothing that is obtrusive, then we could look at it. And it's best for stretching out your terms for lower rates and helping if you have your depositing frequency that isn't consistent. I can spend a lot of time talking about that. I have done it in the past. But if you're a business who you're already making deposits, but you're like, oh, I make one at the end of the week, bi-weekly, I make a couple at the end of the month, which doesn't look good when you're trying to get other types of funding, like when you're getting deducted a daily or a weekly, and you can't afford that. I mean, you can't afford it. It's just going to be harder. It's going to put more strain on your cash flow because you're already making an irregular amount of depositing into your business bank statements and your personal statements, etc. So just keep that in mind. If you're not like a restaurant or retail business, you could be in any other business and still get approved for those. But cross your T's, dot your I's. This will help you, again, if you have that 680 plus credit profile and what you can do. I say sometimes please skip. This might not be added here. It might be different over time. I might say something like that, depending on your file. And I could change it. And this is a great option behind the unsecured revenue-based funding, and even as a combination and or SBA 7A funding, and can even be used as a down payment for anything, real estate investments included. Brief pause. Focus on this video, real estate investing, as well as business funding. You take things out, you put things back out, especially if you're doing fix and flips. But you can use this option for any kind of real estate investing needs. I have business owners, like I said at the beginning of this video, and real estate investors who have different entities, and you're trying to fund those businesses. You're trying to do so much. Maybe you don't get approved with the traditional real estate financer, or you don't get the SBA loan for not being able to use it for real estate investments, no passive investments, no homes, properties like that, Airbnbs. For commercial real estate, that's a different matter. But if you can't get approved for the value, the appraisal, everything, we're already looking at the minimum value purchase of the property. And there's more that equation that I have to look at, that I do numbers on. But even with that number alone, and then the area is another problem. There's already been bankruptcy in that area, or there's something else. Location matters, and you're having a hard time. Then this is another option on top of the credit line hybrid. I can go even deeper into that segment, but let's just focus on this. Is a personal/startup loan, but you'd want to have at least 680 Experian, if not a 700 plus, which you can have, and then some. Requirements: 50,000, sometimes 35, but for this specific one, and it's most commonly you're going to see 50K in annual revenue, taxes or pay stubs, W-2. I'm usually going to ask for payroll. I'm starting to think about the employee retention credit. The personal tax return initially, or a couple, but I'd like to see the latest one so I can verify income. I can verify you are the owner, and a few more things, as well as with my team. 0 time in business, but it requires at least 5 trade lines. Huge. You got to have that. No questions asked. This, what does it do? It demonstrates payment history. It demonstrates what you built. How much bulk do you have? And we're not talking Costco bulk here. 20,000 to 500,000 are the loan approval amounts. So it gives you a lot of room to work with. For those of you who are saying, I want 600, 700,000, we have pushed past 500,000. I've had those clients. I've seen others as well, but it's the selective few. So if you don't have enough on your personal tax returns, your debt to income is just too high. There's a numerous amount of factors that determine this. 700 plus Experian, if not 680 is what we said earlier. 6 to 18% cost of capital, which is the interest rate. You can see up to 25%, probably not pushing past that, but 24 hours, 1 to 2 weeks. So 24 hours is the pre-approval, and I'll follow up with you in this process. 1 to 2 weeks to fund. It could take 3 weeks, sometimes 3 to 5 weeks, depending on, or plus or minus, depending on the file. Soft pull initially for pre-approval. And I'm on top of this, guys. I go through the application. I see the applications coming through. I will transmit the information back to you after we've reviewed. My underwriter said this. Here's Jonathan, or here's Amy who's saying this. There's quite a few. So I'm being open about that. So once initial contracts are signed and all documents are collected, it's a hard pull to get you soft offers, and then develop that into a hard offer, which then you can decide if you want to move forward. This is the part where most people, they become very hesitant, and there's so many reasons. But the main reason, and this goes back to the diagnosis, guys. I'm a doctor diagnosing what you guys have and what problems and so forth. But the thing is, people get cold feet. They give me so many excuses, so many reasons, and they're like, I was just trying to see. Well, that's not what you were saying earlier. Okay, fine. If you think that, that's fine. I'm not going to pressure you. You only know. But if it's something where it's very like non-excusable, and I think that's my guy. Yep. So I'll have to get back to him soon. But if it's something that's non-excusable, then it's like, why are you letting the economy get in the way? Why are you letting coronavirus? Why are you letting something so minute? It could be because of how you are not prepared to use those funds. It could be a lot of things. You really didn't understand what you were doing, what you were getting involved with, taking those funds. And something changes probably in the market. You're like, oh, no, I don't want to do that anymore. Something happened with the suppliers. The vendors weren't in line. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons. And then those are things that I can uncover. The origination fee. And we'll close up here. We're going in 45 minutes. I'm going to try to close underneath 55 minutes. This will be the last one we go into. So Note, the origination fee is 15%, which I know sounds high, but that's how the lenders, they compensate themselves by offering you a lower interest between, again, that 6 to 18, if not up to 25% in some cases, with monthly payments and terms of 1 to 5 years. So that alone, if I just saw that, I'm like, okay, it's fine with me. I'm just trying to save money. I'm not trying to grow and expand my money. I have mortgages. I have other things I'm taking on. Great. This lowers your interest. The amount that needs to be fulfilled and the effort it takes on our behalf, literally it takes a lot, is something you need to consider with these. And if we're approving you for a lot less and the underwriting process is still the same, the amount of time it takes, you need to consider that. You really need to put yourself in our shoes. For many of you, I know those of you who put yourself in my position as well as with my team. So, and if you haven't or yet, it's okay. Just know that this goes beyond just getting business funding. You want to get to know a bit about the broker, the person you're working with, because it is of most importance. What if I ever invited you guys somewhere and you guys already have that understanding of who I am? You guys can converse with me. I'm more than open to share with you some things on my side personally. I know that doesn't have all the things to do with business funding, and some of you are very like, I'm manly and business funding oriented, and I'm not no clown gonna open up to myself. And hey, tense down a little bit, man. This is a good environment you're in. So it shows me who the person is. You don't got to open up a lot. But I've always said this. I have an innate nature about me where I'm very observant, and I can tell something about someone before a word has even been said. Even before, even not even seeing them like this. Over a call, over an email. I already know. I'm like, mm. So just make sure you know some of these things. It does go a longer ways. And I wouldn't want to do business with somebody that I don't at least know a little bit about them. I don't got to know the world. I don't got to go on and on about things, which I won't do. Don't worry about that. But you guys have that confidence and certainty with me. We can go, if you were in my city, probably meet up. Hey, this is actually him. This is Michael, the guy who does the blogs, the YouTube stuff. But he's actually a broker. This guy actually breaks it down for me. Like, he knows this stuff. So this isn't a joke, guys. I'm not a glorified referral partner like some others out there you got to be careful about. Some other systems work a bit different, so there's a time and a place for them. So we may be able to lower it, but let's go up here. The amount of effort, and it's something that you need to consider, and the rates you get are usually better compared to alternative options like MCAs. Plus, you get a better term to start with that makes up for all of this. We may be able to lower it to 12%, but not always. Each file is different, and the fee is not ridiculous when it's unsecured, meaning no collateral. We could do collateral too if you need to. I've done those before. If there's a home or something else we got to consider, and it makes sense and you want to do that, it's absolutely necessary. And we can do max funding. This is why it's best to do this. You may walk into a bank and let's say you do get approved, but you get approved for very little or none of it. And you go over here, oh, well, all I needed was that. And so if you got approved for a minimum amount, over here, we're getting you approved for 150 to 100,000 with our resources, my expertise, myself and my team, which is also why they charge a 15%. And if not, it moves down if possible per file basis. And you have to keep in mind the benefit exceeding your repayment and how you'll use these funds to potentially double, triple, quadruple your revenue, and or perhaps save more money and keep more of your business afloat. Important details: have less than 35% utilization, minimal recent inquiries, strong credit history, no recent negative items. That really does ding down a lot of people. I've seen those. Based on debt to income ratio, try not to have too many recent new trade lines that can completely wipe a file, or it can lower the amount you'll get approved for. And not closing any trade lines or any accounts, I should say, that actually does a lot more damage. Unless absolutely necessary, you've had something open for such a long time that's the absolute necessary thing to do, because it doesn't look good, especially if it's most recent. Try not to have other loans you just took out, as it can raise your debt to income, DTI for short, and utilization and the ratio to get you nothing or perhaps way less. We can try to combine it with a business loan, cash advance, equipment loan, real estate loan, etc., separately, just depending on your financial needs. You need to refinance, you need to do debt consolidation, refinance. What is the situation that you're trying to do? And so I can help you with that. So for personal lines of credit, you need to have an excellent credit history and things like 700 plus on at least 2 of the 3, if not all 3 consumer credit bureaus, 5+ active revolving accounts, like we said earlier, history of installment loans, less than 3 inquiries in the last 6 months on each credit bureau, not just one, 30% credit utilization or less, so not just 35%. But for the personal loan / personal credit cards, sometimes business credit cards, it can be 680 and above to maximize your potential on Experian, as I said before. So different service for different credit-based funding, and I'll find you the best lender for it. And I always do that for people. So you're rest assured, those lenders, they know who I am personally as well as in business. So it goes a long ways. No, this is a service where the debt will go and show up on your personal credit as opposed to those like the hybrid cash out advance term loans, maybe the business credit card stacking program as well. So just keep that in mind, but it's no collateral. Just what position are you in? Are you a startup, non-startup? This is your best adverse risks associated. What are you trying to do? And can you only qualify for that? So here's more information. I'm not going to go through all of this, but if approved, what we'll need, the application process, I'll have that for you ready. I'll try to leave it down below. And this document, if there, personal loan post pre-approval, as much as you have. Some of this may look different depending on what you have on hand, what you can supply, but those are the things. We normally send a contract to sign with the documents needed above that allow us to do a hard pull on your credit, as I said before, to get soft offers, and you can decide then after. This can be asked for you after you say yes to your pre-approval, the stuff that I just showed you in the post pre-approval, and collecting your personal tax return so I can verify income in myself and my team. Thereafter, it's the call with the underwriter, and then I can gather more after that and with the underwriter and my team, the advisors, etc. So these are things we're constantly doing on the back end that you won't always see. But here's an example. It depends on each situation. It's different. But if you have verifiable income, for example, let's say $90,000 a year, tax return verifiable, pay stubs, W-2, etc. Usually I'll ask for the tax returns initially. We may be able to approve you for, let's say, around $40K to $120K via a combination of installment loans, lines of credit, or credit cards. But this is different for each individual based on their debt to income and more. So there's information there and get started. I might leave another funding option for that, but I would say it's probably not best, or it is. And then what to do there. We went over already the credit line hybrid, as we spoke about earlier. Equity crowdfunding. There's a lot more options that I won't get into right now. But if you are in the real estate space, we're going to close up here. Just give me 1 second. I got to open up another tab. Oh, not that one. This is the page if you're a real estate investor, you're trying to get your first, second, third property. These are things that I will look at and assess too, on how many properties you've owned or how many property deals you've done, anything like that. What have you invested in the last 2 to 3 years, most recent. But this form, it may look different over time. I'll try to link it to you guys down below in the description. It should be there. And you can see how that looks. I'll ask questions. And if you're doing something else, let's say you're in a ground up construction. So the form may look different for different things that I asked for, but here, I'm trying to bring it up on another screen. Give me 1 second. There it is. Now let me put it in this tab. So this is one for ground up construction loans, residential lots. We can do commercial property as well. There's a few other scenarios to look at. But see if you qualify for the ground up new construction your business needs. I've helped out quite a few recently where they weren't going to go through this service. And my preferred lender, or which lender is best, I have the best for this. And again, they had to go through a personal / credit-based funding with the personal loan combination of with a few of those other services that we spoke about just earlier. And, you know, they still got to think things through. And of course, take the time on that. But I'm always here when you need me. And just be well aware that I have your best interest at heart. Other people are just out there to make their money, and they don't really give you a lot of education and value. They just run through the qualifications of a program or something, and they're just trying to bait and switch you perhaps. Others, they'll do their due diligence, but maybe it isn't as in-depth. They don't speak like I do on a lower volume, slower, which is what you guys want. You guys need that. You guys don't want Juan. No, I don't want somebody like that. It's just like, hey, if I ask you a serious question, can you break it down for me in layman's terms? Can you break it down very slowly for me, please? So I'll have this down below in the description. And no offense by that necessary, or I'm not bashing anybody for speaking fast or anything like that. But here you see more information. And if you were to click this, it'll open up an external tab, as it should, as I set it up. So if you're watching the video, in case you were to click there, you can still hear and watch the video. But here is this. Get the new construction funding your business needs fast. I won't go through all the specific fields, but just know that when I collect this information, it's more in depth there, then I will go to work. Like seriously, I do some serious stuff on the back end where I'm reviewing it myself. I'm looking at everything. I'm evaluating it, even without looking at maybe a business plan or other documentation. I'm there just making my revisions. I'm saying, okay, this is that. This does look better. This is something that my lender would approve of. Now, I don't have to check in with them, but what I want to do is if the market has changed for this specific scenario, excuse me, on this deal, I need to check in with my lender just to make sure. I know I'm up to date, but I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. I'm crossing my T's, dotting my I's, and I'm very diligent about all that. But that's going to end the video. Let me go to the comments here. 1 second. See, and the first thing is admitting it. And that's what I appreciate and love about you is that you're able to admit it. See, I'm not here. If I don't know something, I'm not going to pretend like I do. Other people out there assume and they take their assumptions and that's who they become. And that's a good thing. It's on a personal level, the power of awareness. It's a good thing to identify as somebody like that. I am this person. I am that. But people have to be receptive and open-minded. If something doesn't work away and they've been proven time and time again that it doesn't work, insanity is repeating the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And I get these people, I'm telling you, I get people who are just not even with funding alone, but anything in general in life. Like, how are you still doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different return? Like, I'm not like that. I'm like, why? I don't even have to be taught that at all. That's just something you don't have to go through an experience to know that. Some people do have to go through it to just understand, hey, damn, I'm messed up. You're coming back to me 6 months later. You didn't even fix the cause, the root of it. And so I'm like, it baffles me that some people just try to do their own thing and they come to me seeking another result. And I'm like educating them on what they need to do. They probably don't even take that advice. Okay, they come back later on, or they don't even come back. They go do something else and they get put into something that shouldn't have happened. And I don't want to go on and on about all that, but it happens. And I know that you're hungry. You show up here. That alone shows me that you are hungry. I've been seeing you here. I know. I've seen the people who show up, even if you're not commenting. It's okay. I'm an introverted person. It happens. But I see it. Those of you, I can have them. I know I'm going to be like, okay, these are the people I want on my round table. You're one of them. And I'm going to care for each and every one of you. I don't just say I know a little bit about you. I know a little bit about them. And I know how they are. I know how they are in business. And it goes far beyond just saying, hey, I'm going to get you funding. And then what? And there's a lot of people out there who are not loyal to others. And so if you are creating content and it's something that resonated with me, I'm going to be the most loyal person you probably have on your list. Guaranteed. Literally. Once you earn that from me, I'm in. This is why I don't pivot. This is why my credit repair guy asked me, Michael, you have this huge thing going on. And, why me? Why all of this? And so it's more of I find something in someone and I go, they're trustworthy. They're reliable. They back up what they do with evidence and they do all this stuff. And so with their character included is what I look for. Yeah, that's the person I want to work with. Yeah, and I'm one of those people who can be here to help you. I've had enlightening calls with people who I think I'm gonna end it here about a minute. I literally mean no harm to anybody. I'm like not literally thin-skinned, I'm thick-skinned. But some people just have the nerve. Like they react without thinking about what they say. And there's a time and a place for that. But with me, I'm like, what did I do to deserve that? Like, I'm not going to say I'm sitting here and saying I'm 100% innocent, close to it. We all do things in our lives sometimes that are, I don't want to use the word not being innocent, but you get what I'm saying and saying sometimes like, I think you know what I'm saying. I'm not 100% innocent. I'm not bad at all. I'm just saying That I'm not one of those people who's just gonna like, whoa, who's gonna put something out of proportion. And then what I get back from some people, you guys wouldn't imagine. I'm like, what did I do to deserve that? Like, man. And it's a testament to saying, okay, if I were to leave this industry, it would be because of people. If I'm quite honest with you guys, it's because of the people. I've said it before. And the reason behind that is certain people are harder to, like, they're hard headed, they're stubborn people, there's ignorance, there's ego driven people. And whether you have that or not, we leave that out the door. We don't bring those things into our process. You don't bring that to me. You don't bring that with my team. I don't care how you were brought up to be thinking that this is the right way to do it, but we've all been programmed from birth to think a certain way, excuse me, but we got to reshape those beliefs. We got to reshape those characteristics. And sometimes they get in the way so much that I'm like, no, this is causing too many problems already. Friction galore, restrictions galore, and you're just pulling on that string. And I don't have to be thinking these thoughts. I don't. I'm such a professional at what I do that I can pick who I want to work with a lot of times. And so it's like, and so I know this is the reason why I don't always get on phone calls either. And I know you are. And I'm going to help you along the way. I'm not charging you for anything, am I? Did I ever say anybody else in here is a testament of that? I don't say, hey, you got to charge me a $40 consultation fee. And before, that's just the conversation. That's not even getting into the application. I know what all these other people are doing. I'm not like them. And so, yeah, I don't charge anything up front myself. There's total loan amount, closing costs, lender fees, origination fees. I can go on and on about that. So does anybody have any questions? We've gone over that minute that I said. And if not, I will close up. See, there's just some results right there. I have to show them in a different way for those clients. You can see that. Those are just some of the companies. I funded a lot. And respectfully, for each person, it's not just business perspective, it's also who the person is. So here it is. Select one of the two options. I'll go to non-startup. And then let me move this over. And then you'll see that questionnaire. I know plenty of you have submitted it. Some of you guys are already way beyond this. You've already gone funded with me. And you guys can see it. You guys go, damn, this guy was actually right. I was learning about this other organization. But then when I came to you, and a lot of people, they say that. A lot of people, they end up coming to me. Let me move this. I'm very grateful, guys. I really get those shock waves when I don't have to hear it. And I receive it with a lot of respect when you guys go, and there's people who speak to me and they go, Michael, I was going to make a decision over here, but I didn't like that person. I want to speak to you. And they're like, I want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with that person over there that talks like that didn't know how to get into detail about that. They weren't being descriptive about that. They were only giving me surface level information. They were just being told what to do without getting in trouble. Or, it's this other person out there who's just very suited, salesperson oriented, slick back hair. I'm not going to bash people down like that. But you can tell when somebody is sales oriented, you can hear it. You can hear them spew it. And I'm not saying that's bad by any means. I know their tactics because I'm good at marketing. I know how sales work. I'm not a salesperson here to sell you anything, but I know how these strategic strategies work. So I know when somebody says something and how they introduce something to then it leading to something. I get all of that. You guys can't really fool me with that stuff. Let me put it in the comment section. And yes, it is. Now that I have it here on screen, let me backspace. There it is. So I'll put it in the comments. I'll also leave it in the description in time. But yes, this questionnaire, I created it, by the way. So I have a digital marketing background as a digital strategist. So I help out businesses also generate leads. So just so you guys know, there's more depth to me. I've helped out people with their Facebook ads, collect a lot of leads, Google ads, SEO, Google blogging, so many different ways, social media traffic. So there's more to me than just the person who helps people get business funding. And it's very cool to do. And so I'll also probably create marketing strategy plans for people and say, hey, this is what we do with step one. This is what we can do with step two, step three, step four. So yeah, I got a lot of things that I do. Keyword there, rewire. Yes. And we do have to pivot, like I mentioned and you just said, and do it respectfully, gracefully, and in a way where it's ourself. It's not necessarily the other person that we're always thinking about, but it's just ourselves first. We got to look at ourselves first before and what we are doing wrong or what we are doing right, what we need to change. And then that can have an effect also on the other person. So if you know, you got to work on something, you're like, oh, I know this is going to get out of the way. I don't want this to. You may not work on it, or you may just put it aside and not let it affect you. But when we go through the app sequence, it's like, I didn't see none of those problems from you at all. I didn't see it from this individual. I didn't see you have to ask 20 different demands that you wanted to get met and they didn't get met, but I told you beforehand. And then now this person is putting this off, like 2 days pass by, no response back. I don't want none of that. And they come back to me with this hatred or this answer. I'm like, well, you already expected that. You already told that. You should have known that. That's not my problem. That's your problem at that point. What it is a problem of not knowing how you're going to use these funds. There's a bigger problem, guys, than just saying, I don't want daily, weekly repayments. I could care less. I care if I want daily. For my, I say I could care less as in my businesses. If I took $300 a day, I could decide if I wanted $300 a day, or do I want to take $2,500 per week, or whatever it is. For me, it doesn't matter unless I'm positioning myself for something with better cash flow, or I have to take that, or I go profitability is this. I'm looking to refinance this money down the road, and if I'm taking too high of an interest on this, then that might not be feasible with the profitability in my business. So a lot of people are optimizing for write-offs. So, and that reports lesser of a profitability, and there's a few other factors. So just understand what you're doing when you're getting involved with all of this. See, I get emails like that, and I'm gonna respond to that email differently. I got somebody who's wanting to speak about something, so I'm gonna try to do that via email because I don't want it to become this whole back and forth thing with them again. So does anybody else have any questions, comments, or concerns? You are most welcome. I'll let it go for about another 30 seconds. If nobody has anything, I will shut this down. If somebody does, I will reset the clock maybe to a minute or 30 seconds. But I want to leave you guys with this. As I just said earlier, not to sound redundant, I'm not bashing anybody. I don't want to be aggressive on this topic. But please, guys, character and reputation, if it's not for business, do it for yourself because that affects any other part of your life. How can you improve better as a person? How does this affect my loved ones? How do I do things day to day? What are my habits? What are my routines? These are things that I ask myself every single day. It's not like I've just built them and they just stick like that. I continuously make micro evolutions of these atomic habits and I repeat the pattern day in, day out. I'm an old man, guys. At my age, I'm not going to give you guys my number, but I'm not in my 20s anymore. Dang. Just recently, if that's a hint. But I'm an old man at heart, old soul. I love listening to rock, old rock, the 90s rock since I'm a 92, the Audio Slaves, the Soundgardens of the world, Pearl Jams. I still listen to some Eminem, and I don't go out of my way to listen to all this rap stuff, especially what's going on now. It's like, yeah, the people who are following that, I don't look down upon anybody. If they do, that's not what I'm saying. It's just, that's not stuff for me. And it's like, it doesn't hit the same or it doesn't feel the same. But I kind of just like staying in my lane and doing things that way. So nobody has anything. We'll do 15 more seconds. And while that's happening, I'm going to send him an email. I just said to somebody right now is, and this is me conserving energy and time, guys. I told one of my clients that's going to get an SBH looking at debt consolidation and refinance, can we call? Can we talk on the phone? And I'm like, I'm asking myself, does it need to be? Because of a pattern I've seen in the past. So I just sent him an email pretty much saying, hey, can you tell me what it is that you need in an email, please? Pretty much. So if I know what he wants to have a conversation about, and I go, why are we going to go spin our wheels again about this? Does that make sense, guys? So don't look at it like, oh, that broker's always on a call with me. And there's a bigger picture than just being on a call with someone. Not because I don't get on calls all the time with people doesn't mean I'm not any good at this. I have the results to do this. I've had funded a lot of people who are doing millions a month. Literally, I've never had a phone call with. And they trust me. They know me. They see how loyal I really am. They see my results. They see what I can do. I'm not just here jumping on YouTube, or I'm jumping on a live or a blog post that I'm putting together just to put it together and then just trick somebody. No. Thank you. I wish the same for you as well. You are most welcome. So I think this is where I want to stop the clock. Does anybody else have anything? Sorry about that. Long video. So again, 10 more seconds and then I'll get going. All right, everybody. Appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in. This is a real one. This is a real one. You're a real one. And please all have a great rest of your Friday and weekend. And I will see you all on the next one. Take care.